when you are trying to see that movie. Now, what is it that you liked it? What is it that you liked in a detective story? Yes. What did you like in detective story? Did you watched some movie, right?
Yes.
So did you watch detective story? So what is it that you liked? I think it is suspense, right? What is it that kept you intrigued when you were actually trying to watch a detective story or a horror movie or something where there's a suspense? Yes. Yes, Masika. Okay, you can tell me later on. So I just want to again say that, we have to actually know that there are different varieties of story writings, and there are various genres of writing detectives, writing stories. So one of that is detective stories. So it's a very popular among the story writers to write about some suspense thrillers and something like that, where it engages the reader a lot, right? You always try to see what is next, what is next, what is next. So this is what you'd always try to check on these things. Now, why it is, the question is, why is it called a detective? Now, detective comes from the Latin word detectus, meaning to uncover or expose. Okay, that means a plot is taken about people, and there is a storyline, and one by one you try to uncover it. So detectives, what the role of the detectives they do is they detect or discern or uncover the truth. What is the reality in that? So that is what they try to find out. So basically, it revolves around the main character on a quest to solve a crime. Okay, basically, detective stories are written on crimes. Okay, for example, if you can look at the sentence, the detective stubbornly persisted with his questions. Right now, the detective is a person who is trying to unfurl the story, that if there was a person who died, now how did he die? So this detector who tries to find out the solution, why did he die, when did he die, who killed him, okay, all these things with his several questions. Now, the next sentence you see, the detective scanned every bit of evidence. Now, whatever evidence he found, after questioning, all these things, he tried to gather those evidence. Now, in the third one, you see, he hired a private detective to find out his lost wealth. Now, suppose I went for a break and my house was being robbed. Now, I don't know who has done this thing. So I hire a detective to find out who has done this. Okay. So this is how the entire plots or the storyline of detective stories are being made. Okay. Now look at this again, next one, that how do you write then a detective story? How do you write a detective story? There are 5 basic elements, of a detective story. Is every good detective storyline will have a detective, usually featured as the protagonist or a crime. Okay, do you know what is a protagonist? Yes, Masika, do you know, if you make this as a little interactive, you'll really like it. So do you know who is the protagonist? Yes, my dear. Do you know who is the protagonist? No? No? Okay, you can see this references. You'll always find, this protagonist and who is an antagonist. You'll find this kind of words. Okay. So basically, this protagonist is the main person. Okay, the main person who takes he's the main character of that story, and this detective storyline will have a kind of a crime. A crime might be, something which is like mystery stories. You have heard that something happens, so a group of students, they become very curious to go and see that what is happening there. So these are the kind of storylines are formed. Now, most detective stories revolve around a central crime or a string of related crimes. Like, there will be three parts. Like, one is a suspect. Okay. Number two, there will be an antagonist and a setting or a background. Okay. So this is the basic thing of kind of this detective stories we see. These are the three things which we always find in a detective story. Now, what are the requirements? What are the requirements to write a detective story? What kind of what are the ingredients or what are the requirements you need when you have to write a detective story? Is the art of writing a detective story. A writer must be concerned. Okay, please understand these three things, that when you want to write a short detective story, you must have certain kind of things in your mind. Number one is adequate care should be taken to create dramatic suspense and selecting the right atmosphere or a plot. As I said before, that when you want to,
June, and that carries 70% of the total weight.
yeah, so there is a noise there.
And assignments, continuous assignments for each.
Yeah, there is a noise there. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so there when you write, adequate care should be taken to create dramatic suspense and selecting the right atmosphere. So if there is no suspense in the story, then that does not become a detective story. Okay. The second point is importance of choosing the characters judiciously. When you are trying to write a story, the characters are very, very essential part of any kind of a detective story. This you must always understand. Okay. So, what kind of characters you want to bring into this detective stories? Please remember that when we have this detective stories, there are only 3 or 4 main person. Other people are also there, but there are main. I'll explain these things in the later part of my lecture. The second one is the third point is know the significance of dialogue. Now, here, writing a novel or writing a kind of a drama is very different, okay, when we write these detective stories. Basically, you should remember that the dialogue is a narrative, Okay, somebody is narrating and somebody is trying to find out certain kind of clues from there. Okay, so this is again a very special kind of writing this detective stories. So another last point here is that use of requisite device or interpreting clues. So every time you have to give a clue. Okay, it is like solving a puzzle. Okay, so it's a kind of a puzzle and you have to solve it. So every next point you need to give certain clue. When there is a clue, then I'll try to unfold that mystery slowly and slowly. All right, Masika? I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to say. Yes, Masika? So in book 3, we are trying to understand how detective stories are created. The story is not just to create a mystery, but having logical reasoning to solve the mystery. So this is how it is very, very different from other stories we write. Okay, sometimes we write, as I said, that when we write a story, it is about our culture, our lifestyle, or an incident, or a memory, or a kind of any activity which is happening in our surroundings, in our society, in our community. We try to give it a memory to it. So we write a story, okay? And then we also spread that story by publishing, and so that others also can read and enjoy the storyline. Okay, so but here it's this detective story is that you have to have a logical reasoning. The dialogues or the it should be a conversational mode, and this has to be you have to have a logical reasoning. So this is how this story, this kind of story is different from other stories. Okay. So the story should be intriguing to the reader. That means it should give it should create a kind of an enthusiasm that what next, what next, what next. So this is what that intriguing factor should be there. For example, by finding an explanation to the mysterious death. There is a mysterious death, and this detective goes to find out what is the mystery of his death. Okay. So detective stories deal with humans, and thus it may be regarded as the moral fiction. So here sometimes you need to have certain kind of, at the end of the story, you have certain kind of moral things. You just tell it through these detective stories. You try to tell the people that not to do such kind of crimes. Okay. So that is, it shows what and where we are, what we do as individuals, and that is one who often commits to that crime. All right. Do you understand? Yes, Masika, are you there? Yeah, Masika, are you there? Okay, so detective stories tell with the humans. So here humans are involved in this storyline. Okay, that it shows that, again, I'm saying what and where we are, what we do as individuals, and that is one who often commits crime with a motive not common to others individual. That means everybody does not do crime. Okay, so that is something which some people do it. Okay, out of intention or without intention also people do it. So you can see one of the very popular story, we all love to read is the adventure of Sherlock Holmes. Okay, so you can see that how he goes into a situation or a circumstances, and he tries to solve that mystery, by opening up one clues after another clue. All right. So I hope you're understanding. So we go to the next slide. So here we try to understand what are the ingredients which goes into a detective story. Okay, so what are the ingredients? So first one is the mystery is investigated by a character who unfolds the mystery and provides solution. So always remember that this detective story is a kind of a mystery, and it is investigated by a character. What he does, he tries to unfold the mystery and provide a solution. Okay, how does he provide solution? One, a character who might be an amateur. Okay, that means you can see that some teenagers, they have a lot of curiosity in their mind, so they are very much always into solving things. New things excites them, and this is how they try to go and find out something. They walk into the jungles, they go to a kind of a bank, river bank, and they try to find out something. So they are all amateur. They're not professionals, but definitely, this kind of investigation or the mystery intrigues them. That is why they do such kind of things. You'll find teenagers doing these things so much, right? Second one is a professional along with a companion. So if you hire a professional detective, he doesn't go alone. He always goes with a companion, a friend. Okay, so that both of them goes out and tries to solve that mystery of that crime. Second point is second ingredient you have in detective story is it is formulaic, as it represents a complex of conventions. So it is not, as I said, it is not like any other stories. Okay, your stories you write for your children. Okay, your stories you write for adults or for old people. For other kind of social issues you write through stories. Okay, it is not like this. Here in this kind of detective story, it is a complex of conventions. Lot of rules and regulations are there when you want to write a detective story. Okay, and the third ingredient is the fundamental nature of detective story is suspense. So if there is no suspense, then that detective story is not a detective story in true sense. Okay, so you need to create a suspense in your dialogue. Okay, so every time till the story ends. Okay, remember, your suspense will unfold at the end of the story, not in between. If you do it in between, then your detective story is not a story. All right, so you have to create all throughout your dialogue, you have to create a kind of a suspense. Now, how that suspense is created? It is sustained. Okay, that suspense should prolong. Okay, you should always carry on that suspense throughout your story. Okay, then you have to construct it in a logical chain. Now, during this suspense, when you are creating it, you should sustain it, but then it should have a certain kind of logical chain. Okay, then the plot or the action is created. So if you don't have these previous ingredients, you cannot have the plot. So you have to do a lot of things at the same time. First, you have to find out the place where a crime is there or a mystery is there. Okay, you have to find out there. And after that, you have to write a storyline. Okay, then you have to put this into a chain. Okay, a coherence should be there, right? Now, these are some of the essence of such detective stories. And fourthly, the story is produced in a narrative way rather than a dialogue. So here we don't generally have a dialogue form, but it is a kind of a narrative. Okay. If you have any questions, Masika, till now, are you trying to understand? Yes, Masika, are you trying to understand? Are you trying to understand, Masika? Yeah, are you understanding? Masika, are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Please respond. Okay. So we move to the next unit in this detective story is how to choose choosing the characters. How do we choose the characters? I said that we have very minimal characters in a detective story. So the art of character development in detective story is very, very important. Okay, because since we have a very minimum number of characters, so each and every character is very strong here. Okay, they are very strong, so they try. So when you write these stories, you have to always keep these characters, their dialogues very strong. Okay, only then you can find that your story becomes very, very interesting and effective also. Okay, so characters in story forms an important constituent. Okay, the four main types of characters basically are: one is the victim. Okay, who is that victim? Who is already a victim before the story begins. Now a detective story does not start from, okay, a person is there, then he will die, and then there will be a detective who will come and try to find out. No. So detective story starts from that mystery. Okay, something happened in the past. Okay, a past something happened, and then from there the detective story starts. The storyline starts from there. Okay, second point is the criminal's motive. Okay, the criminal's motive is this is a very important character in a detective story. One is the person who has done the crime. What was his intention to do such a kind of a crime? Okay, so his character is also a very important part, right? The third one is that detective who is wise and intelligent. Okay, always remember the detective is very wise and he is very intelligent, and he becomes the central figure. Okay, central figure of the entire story, because he tries to solve the mystery. All right, so that is so this is three. And definitely the fourth one, which is a little minor role, but then also it is very important, is the detective's companion. I told you about a detective's companion who is loyal to the detective, and sometimes he is also the narrator. All right, so these are the four basic characters in a detective story. So here there are not much room to develop more defined main characters. Remember this. So other characters are also important, but at the backdrop. So adding to the reality of the story. So if you want to do a detective story, you want to put this in a movie form, then definitely you will have a community, okay, where that crime happened, or the mystery, a place. Okay, so if you want to show that place, then definitely there will be a lot of other things involved actually to show it as a real, something real. Okay, but then this four characters in a detective story is very, very important. All right, and the third one here is the dialogue. Now, if you understand the characters, then you will also understand this dialogue. What is it that goes into that dialogue? So, in this section of this thing, we will try to understand the use of dialogues in a detective story. So, the objective of this dialogue, you must understand that why you want to write this dialogue. So once you understand the objective of the detective story, then only you will be able to write the dialogues. So here you must remember that the dialogue and the character always go hand in hand. Okay, always it goes hand in hand, because if the dialogue does not match with the character, then again your story does not become effective. So in fact, dialogue gives a life to the character. So if you don't have dialogue, if the character is silent, also again there is a big problem. So that is why dialogue and the character always goes hand in hand. Okay, so there is also no room for long dialogues. Also remember this is a very important point, that when we are talking about the dialogue, what are the things you need to have in a dialogue is that portray the character, reveal the motive, and develop the action. Okay, at that point of time, you cannot have long dialogues. Okay, so your dialogue should be very short. It should be short, to the point, and it should give lot of clues. So you can understand that what kind of dialogues you need to have. There are so many stories available in the websites. So you can download any stories you like to read, any language you like to read. And, you can also watch in YouTube. Also, you can watch a lot of movies are there on detective stories. So you can watch all those things and you can see this how dialogues are being portrayed in those detective stories. Okay, so once you see this, you can only understand this. Otherwise, if you these are the real life examples, you need to do it. Okay, so language used in a dialogue should be always conversational. Why conversational? Because that character states what does it state? It states how it is said, okay, when it is said, and the circumstances it is being said. Now, these are the 3 points that character must always come out with. Okay, it is that how it is said, okay, the dialogue, right? Then when it is said and the circumstances it is being said. See, this dialogue so if I just say in modern detective story, there's a lot of violence. Okay, you can see there are a lot of violence, so brutal, in a brutal, kind of a crime. Then you can have cynical dialogues, which reflects the situation and contributes to the plot or the atmosphere, okay, or the situation. Okay, so a dialogue has only one principal end. So you should see that the dialogue development, it should be handled very, very carefully. Okay, so that it does not give any clue to the reader midway or at the start. Now, as I said before also, that when you write a story, that all your clues you should not give at the beginning or in the middle of the story. Okay, you should develop it sequentially, one after another. You should do it. Okay, until and unless you should know that where to end your story. When you know that you end your story, that is the time you reveal it. Okay, what actually was the mystery about that detective story. All right, but never in the middle and never in the start. So the structure of the dialogue, if it is not, if not designed the way it should be for mysterious story, then the objective shall not be fulfilled. You should remember this, that if the structure of the dialogue is not designed the way it should be for a detective story, then your objective, I said that your objective of writing a detective story will fail. All right, so the role of dialogue is just to move the story forward. So remember, why do we need to have a dialogue? Because only clue will not do. This is not mathematics. This is a real life problem. A person has done it and others have faced it. I told you the characters. If you remember in the previous slide, the victim is also very important. Okay, the criminal who has done a crime, that is also very important. And there's a detective, okay, who is trying to find out why this victim, why a person became a victim, and the person who has done it. Okay, so these are the things that a detective will work on. Okay, so here the dialogue role of the dialogue is very, 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 very important. So why? Because it takes that story forward. Otherwise, if you just have like mathematics, then it will not be a story. Okay, so so you must see that you are writing a story. Okay, you are not just a policeman going and finding out something. Okay, so if you are police, then you will just go to that immediately to that scene, and then you will try to find out. You'll go do some investigations, and then you will come and report it. Okay, so and then whatever based on your report, action will be taken. But here in the case, you are writing a story. That means you have to go little slowly, have some patience, and thus you have to slowly and slowly unfurl that mystery, okay, in the form of a dialogue. So this is what you should keep in your mind. So remember that it is not an end in itself. Okay, dialogue is not an end in itself, but a means to an end. Okay, so you have to solve that. You have to bring a solution to that. So that dialogue helps you to carry on. So that dialogue helps you to carry on, to move forward. So it should be developed with a great care. Okay, so always remember that any kind of story what you write, what is the objective of writing a story? Okay, for children, for the entertainment, then that objective should be clear. If you are writing it for everyone, okay, anybody can read that story. So that also you should understand that why you want to write the story and for whom you are writing that story. So these storylines are very, very important. That objective is very important, Masika. You should always find out the objective, why you are writing a story. When you take care of that objective, then definitely you can give life to the characters. Okay, and the dialogues will come automatically. Okay, you have to think that, and you have to imagine that character. Okay, so if you, until and unless you imagine that character, you cannot understand that how to move forward that story. So you are not a policeman here to go to that where the crime happened, to go investigate and come back. No, you are a writer. You are a creative writer. So you have to know what is the length of your story, how long you want to pull that story. If you want to bring a lot of other characters also, that is up to you. But you must give justice, you must bring justice to those characters. Okay, so what is the main point that you must understand is that you have to define your characters very well, because they are limited characters in a detective story, right? So you should always again remember that this dialogue in a detective story is not an end in itself. Okay, but a means to an end. That is how you move forward and you stretch that story. Okay, so the maximum number of clues you give, the more interesting that story becomes. Now, if you have 2 or 3 clues, then the story is very short, very short. Okay, so again, you should understand that in detective story, many people, they think that they are writing, but they end up writing a report. So you should remember that your detective story should not be a report writing. Okay, it is a story. It is a story. All right. Masika, if you have any problem, if you are not understanding, you can raise your hand or you can stop me and you can ask question. All right, so that I want that you should understand. You are in such a place where you can see you are living with the nature, you are living with the community, you are living with the people, and you can see that life in Uganda, how it is. Okay, the people there, how their sustenance is, what do they do for their livelihood, how do they do it? Okay, are there any crimes? If there are any crimes, what does the law or the law and order does? Okay, so all these things, if you just keep an eye open, then definitely you will love to come and write it. Okay, so to write a story, Masika, you need to have a very good understanding about the community you want to portray. Okay, because I told you detective stories happens with the human beings. Okay, it is related to the human beings. Even if you write a fictional story or a non-fictional story, but here the main characters are the human beings. All right, so this is what you have to always keep at the backdrop of your mind. Once you keep this, then you'll find that there are no contradictory statements. Okay, you will find that your storylines, your dialogues, your narratives are very, very nice. There is a flawless, so there will be no contradictions. Okay, you'll see that. Okay, and also you can see that you cannot conceal any information. In detective stories, you cannot conceal any information. All right. Detective story is to reveal, not to conceal. How do you reveal it? Through different kind of clues. Yes or no? Are you understanding, Masika? Are you trying to understand what I'm trying to tell you? How this is very different? How this is very different from other story writing? Are you understanding, Masika? Yes, Masika, if you speak, then it will help me to explain you better.
Masika, you can answer. You can answer the madam.
Yes.
Then it will be reciprocated.
Yes.
Yes or no, some doubt, something.
I want to know about your place, Uganda.
Yeah. Say something about the topic or something about the place or what madam is asking.
Yes.
Come on, talk something. Okay, madam. I think she has some language problem, it seems.
No, she said about she lives in Uganda, and she said about her place. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, she is a very good listener. Yeah.
And one more person was there, Vikas. He used to join. I don't know that because of weekend he may have some. Otherwise, he was regular. That Vikas, one more person.
Oh, he's not there.
Today is not joined.
Okay.
He was regularly joining, madam. Okay. And Masika also joining because out of 3, 2 are joining continuously.
Okay,
madam. Go ahead, and after that you can have a discussion. Then you can wind up. Okay.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, Masika, you have raised your hand. Please speak. Please speak, Masika. Yeah, I want to hear you, Masika. Unmute yourself, please. Your thing is muted. Please unmute it and speak. You can see a mic. Mic is crossed.
Your mic, please unmute. Then you speak. Masika. Unmute your mic.
Okay.
Madam, you can unmute her. You can also unmute, madam.
I can't do it. That's what I'm trying.
That right side, no, that 4 people symbol. There you click, then go to the mic, and over that you press it, madam. And the right is the people symbol, no, the right side.
Right inside, yeah. Pin, don't watch, add.
No, extreme right.
She has gone.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, madam, you continue. After that, add something, then you can. She will join. Some internet problem.
Yes, internet problem. Yes.
Yeah.
I hope it is going okay.
No, it will be nice. Some interaction will be there. What you are doing.
Yes.
But okay, no issue. You can continue and.
See, I want to do this recording till 5, or I can stop the recording.
No, madam. In between also you can stop. Then you can have a discussion after content over. Right.
Okay, then I can stop.
Then stop the recording.
Yes.
Have some discussion. Then you can.
Yes, definitely. I always want to have an interactive class.
Yes, nice. And madam, afterwards you can end the meeting for everybody.
Yes.
Right. That is okay. You can explain. Then she joined again.
Yeah, she joined. Yes, Masika. Hi, welcome back. Yes, speak. Please speak. Yes, please speak.
Mine is a question.
Yes. Please speak. What is your question?
What is the meaning of the word antagonist? The meaning of the word.
Did you understand? Yes, very nice. Do you know what is protagonist? I told you. Who is that protagonist?
Yeah.
He is
From
the main
my
character.
from my understanding, it
Yes,
is usually the main character who drives the action.
very good, very good. Yes.
Now I
And
want to.
who is the antagonist? He's the opposite who wants to fight. Okay, who wants to
Yeah,
fight with it
yeah.
is the antagonist. Okay, got the
eh,
point?
Okay.
Okay, the
Now,
person who opposes or fights against another character. Okay, so there is a
that is
protagonist and there is an antagonist.
yes. Okay.
Okay, so protagonist
Yes.
might be a hero also. Okay, he is a kind of a hero, but there will be an antagonist who will not like that hero. Okay, and he will fight with that hero.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
is antagonist.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you understand till now that dialogue you understood?
Yes, I have understood.
Okay, so here,
Yes.
three things you should very carefully remember. That dialogue is not like any other dialogue which we write in other kind of stories. In detective, it is a
Yes.
narrative, but your dialogue should be having a conversational tone, and you should remember the three things where the dialogue is evolved. It is how it is said, when it is said, and the circumstances it is being said. Okay, and the structure of the
Okay.
dialogue. Okay, and the structure of the dialogue, you should always remember that you are unfolding a mystery. When you are unfolding a mystery, the dialogue should be in a narrative way, and it should have all the clues in sequence. Not that again it is structured. That means one clue leads to the next clue, the next clue leads to a third clue, fourth clue, like this, till the story comes to an end. So you will have a series of clues. So it is heavily structured. Okay, so you must understand this. So when you see some of the movies in YouTube and all, or you read this Adventure of Sherlock Holmes, you'll definitely understand that what is that dialogue. All right, dear.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
yeah, let me move to the last unit of this detective story is the device. Okay, so what is this device of multiple clues? How do we create these devices? What are the devices? Now remember that most of the people love to read detective stories. Many people, they love to read the detective stories. So here, one of the clues is that see, the story is revolved with different clues. So clues serve as the core of any detective story. So you need to have some kind of puzzles. Okay, so it's kind of a scramble. You have 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, 5 points. So you join this in such a way that it solves the mystery. Okay, so it's a skill. Remember, this is a skill to write a detective story, and it uses multiple devices. One of the interesting device is real clues versus false clue. Okay, so Masika is gone again. I think internet problem. Yeah, yes, Masika. Yeah. So you must understand that there's a very interesting device which is called real clue versus false clue. Sometimes you find that this false clue also help you. There will be characters, there will be people who will not try to give you the right information, but then those finding out information from those wrong information is also a special thing. Real clue is fine, you are trying to find out something, right? And you are getting some kind of solving one after another the mystery. But if you are engaging people in a storyline, okay, then they might not give you the right information. right? So this information also sometimes helps you to connect. All right. So whatever the informations you get, okay, the interpretation of all the available clue is very, very important, because it binds all the components into one and makes the story more interesting. All right. So you can see that how Sherlock Holmes established a model of interpretation of clues, putting one power of deduction to work. So you have to create one after another things, so that you can deduct, come closer to that solving of that mystery. So the question words such as what, how, why, who. Okay, these are some of the questions which creates multiple clues in a progression of a story. Okay, so like for example, the power of deduction is actually the motivation for the crime. Then it goes to tracing the criminal. Okay, so this is the sequence you need to follow. So why we enjoy reading detective story is that we are drawn to detective fiction because it entertains us and challenges our detective skills. It always challenges our detective skills. So we are given a problem and challenged to offer a solution. Remember, these other stories may not give a solution, but in a detective story, it has to give a solution from a number of indicators. So what are the clues? The clues are basically your indicators. Okay, how you have to go forward and solve the puzzle. So how do you what was the crime and how do you identify the criminal? Okay, so to identify a criminal, you need to have some kind of clues. All right. So you can have simple clues. That means, interpretation of the clues at the heart of the detective's art. You might attempt to reconstruct a thing or an event of the past, okay, with the help of whatever evidence you get. Okay, whatever evidence you get with this, you can try to find out where you can go. Okay, and every clue you must examine. You must examine every clue. So these examinations, whatever examinations you do, that also you have to bring it into a kind of a dialogue form or a narrative form, whatever a creative writer wants to do. It is his choice. All right. So there are also models of interpretation of clues. Like, if you look at Sherlock Holmes, it is very interesting to say that how Conan Doyle, Detective Sherlock Holmes, sets about his business that has set up a model of interpretation, which has served and still continues to serve as a model for a lot of detective and popular detective fictions. Okay. So other modes of interpreting is the interaction between the detective, people, places, events, and circumstances. So these circumstances, okay, help you to find out, that to go and reach out to those people, to go to those places, to go to these events, to actually connect those puzzles. If you are not able to connect the puzzles, and if you are not able to put this in a dialogue form, then definitely the storyline will not be that much effective and interesting for the readers. Okay, so thus multiple clues helps the detective to join all pieces and deduct his inferences. Right? So once you have all the clues, then you try to put these clues in a sequence, in a spatial kind of a sequence, to find out what was actually the crime, who did it, how he have done it. Okay, all these things, all these mysteries will be solved through these multiple clues. Okay, Masika?
Okay. Yes, please. Okay.
Yeah, Masika, in Uganda, do you think that what are the law and order of if somebody does a crime, if somebody steals something? Okay, then what is the law and order?
He must face the consequences. He may be taken to the court
Okay,
to answer. Yes, and be charged of something like being in prison for some years.
oh, acha. So for every
Yes.
wrong things, he is in prison.
Yes, like stealing,
Ah,
like killing,
yes.
you may be imprisoned.
Okay, okay. So do you have
Yes.
any community roles, community people, your seniors, elders in the community, do they give any kind of punishment, or do they counsel them? If suppose
Yes,
a
we have them.
teenager does a crime, then I think there's a community elders who come together to counsel him. Is there something like this?
Yes, it is there.
Okay,
They are
so
there. Mm.
can you narrate me a story? Something happened there in your place? Which place do you live in Uganda?
My district is Kansese.
Kansas. Okay.
Yeah. And I
Do you
live
remember
in Maliba sub-county. Maliba
Malibasa? Okay.
sub-county.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So was there any kind of recent crime and all? What happened?
In Kasese district, we have
Hmm?
crimes of defilement.
Okay.
Mm.
So
And
how how
defilement is between from 0 years to 17 years.
oh my God. It's a long
Mm. Mm. If you defile a person of below 18 years, so
okay.
you can be imprisoned for that defilement.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes.
So what all
Mm.
other crimes are usually taken very serious? What other crimes which are very serious? That means one has to get imprisonment.
Killing,
Killing. Okay. Yeah.
then
Yes.
defilement.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Then stealing.
Stealing.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Stealing like money, like food,
Hmm.
then like properties.
Hmm.
Mm.
So stealing
That
food
one.
also. Stealing food also. It is imprisonment.
They can go and imprison you because here it is very serious. Some people are very
Okay.
serious on stealing. They steal everything. That's why
Oh.
they say that you are supposed to go for imprisonment so that you stop stealing.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. Okay. Hmm. So, do you have a community council?
Yes, we have them. If they take you to those communities several times, then they question you. That's why
Okay.
they take you to for imprisonment.
Acha, acha. Okay, okay. Hmm.
Yes.
Any other crimes apart from stealing and killing?
We have some crimes whereby a man can be caught with with a woman of another man.
Yes, yes, yes,
That
yes,
that
yes.
is a crime.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Then we have a crime of crimes of
Yes.
yes.
Okay, okay. Yes, yes, yes. These are,
Mm,
Masika, these are always a problem everywhere, everywhere.
mm,
These are the
mm,
problems. Some are sophisticated crime. And, big
mm.
places have sophisticated crime, and
Yes,
those who have money also, they do crime because they
yes,
need
they do.
more. Huh. So those who are
Mm,
poor, they have no other way. Okay, the poor, they don't
mm.
have way. So you can understand, because of necessity they do these things. But there are
Yes,
also crime when people have so much in abundance, lot of things they have, but still they do crime. So that is not tolerable, right? Yeah.
yes.
Hmm. So what is the population there in your place?
Our population is very high.
Okay,
We,
okay.
yes. Mm.
So you have a local newspaper?
Pardon?
Do you have a newspaper? Newspaper where you read news of what is happening in your place?
Yes, we have newspapers.
Okay, so there in newspaper you must be reading who has done what in different places.
Mm.
News, na?
Yes.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. Okay. Very good. So, will you write one detective story?
Huh?
Will you will you try to write one small detective story?
I can try, but it is very hard.
Y-
I have heard from your explanation.
Yeah, you can try, right?
Yes.
You can try. Okay. So, do you love reading
Mm.
storybooks?
Yes, but no, I don't. I don't have reading skill.
No problem. You can read. Don't worry. Slowly, slowly,
I will try.
yeah.
I will try to
Yes.
read.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. Slowly, slowly you read,
Mm.
and then one day you'll become a very speed reader. You know?
Eh.
So you will, Masika. You are such a lovely student. You will definitely do it. Na, I'm
Mm.
from India. I'm from India, and
Mm.
people here also. There we have a lot of people who cannot read and write. Okay, but then
Mm.
if they try, definitely one can read. It is your interest, right?
Yes.
And one day you
Yes.
will also be writing detective story and sending me across, right?
Mm. Yes.
Yes, yes. Hmm. So, if I have to sum up the entire this detective story writing, so we must know that the ability to interpret clues is what enables the detective to solve the mystery and is the core of the art. Okay. So, if I
Yes.
shall I repeat? Shall I repeat once again? Okay, the ability to interpret, interpreting those clues, okay, is what enables the detective to solve the mystery and is the core of his art. So this is a detective story is also kind of a art. Okay, so if you put more life into it, then it becomes more interesting. More difficult clues means it is very, very interesting. Okay, if you have simple clues, then small children might be loving to read it or listen to it. But if you write for adults, and the clues are very tough, then that becomes more intriguing, and definitely you'll have more readers to read this. So the clues are always, remember one thing, the clues are not that general people cannot understand. They are always obvious. Okay, they're always obvious, and not at the beginning of the story, but at the end of the story. When the story is coming to an end, then the readers will try to also understand that what are the clues and what is going to happen, who actually did it. Okay, so these are the things, you can see that it is very interesting. So what this interpretation means, that means it is interaction between the detective, the people, the place, the event, and circumstances. You can see in my slide, I have written that in the last line, that you always, that you should interpret that the interaction between the detective. The detective is the main character, and then he goes around to meet the people. He goes to the places, he goes to the events, and he tries to see the circumstances where that event took place, who did it, why they have done it, what was the motive of those people, to do such things. So this that detective tries to interpret every single clues which he gets from this kind of things, right, and people. So here one very important thing is that to become a very detective or professional, or an amateur, or you want to write a creative story on a detective plot, that means you have to have a very strong human psychology. You understand, Miss Masika, what is human psychology?
Yes, I
Yes.
understand.
So when you understand human psychology, definitely, even if we are not detective, but still we understand. You can see, if you
Yes.
talk with your friends, you can see whether they have the right intention to talk to you. So you can understand that if you can read their mind, right? So if they are telling you something false, you can immediately understand that they are not speaking the truth. They are telling lies. You can understand this. So this is this detective story is a kind of a game of human psychology. You read the mind of the people, right? And rather than the human action. Action does not tell much. Action means something which is done. You are not on the spot. You hear something. You are not on the spot, but you hear and you go there, and then you interact with these people and you see the place where it happened. Then you apply that human psychology, that and when you talk with the people, you try to understand that how he is speaking, what he is speaking, and how he is speaking. All those things help you to understand and differentiate between the truth and false. Okay, so that human psychology is very, very important to understand the right clues versus what are the false clue, who is giving you a wrong information. So all these things you can understand from this way. Okay, so this is the end of this. Now you can ask me anything which you have not understood, or you have any curiosity in your mind. You can ask. I will stop the recording now, but you can just talk to me.
Now